That doesn't work for me, brother. Well, unfortunately, the immortal Hulk Hogan is dead and working on his tan in hell. The Hogan Show itself may be to blame for his untimely demise, and now we are being hunted by some extremist Hulkamaniacs. But we still love Hulk Hogan, and the Hulkster lived an exciting and amazing life. Let us tell you a tale in celebration recounting one of the great exploits of Hulkamania, and for legitimacy I like to add this has all been fact-checked by the House of Hulkamania, the 7th biggest religion in the state of Tampa. Hogan and the Giant. Once upon a time it was the 1980s. By this point in history, Hulk Hogan's legacy was well established, considered by most to be the greatest, most wonderful wrestler in the universe. After holding the World Championship for 5 years, defeating all evil wrestlers on the planet put in front of him by a combination of kicks, punches, an atomic leg drop and lots of finger wagging, he was clearly number one. He had also sold more wrestling merchandise than anyone in the history of the business, from red and yellow t-shirts, to red and yellow toasters, to red and yellow light bulbs, to red and yellow G-strings, and an award-winning action figure line. He was doing very well. His new 1988 music album, co-produced with Simon Cowell of future American Idol fame, had set the charts on fire. His success was like the Midas touch. Cliff Richard even got to number 1 in the charts by sampling Hulk Hogan's hit song, Thunder Blender in Paradise, reworking it into Mistletoe and Wine. Hulk Hogan fame and success was a double-edged sword, as with the success came a lot of jealousy. None so more than his best friend Andrew. Andrew the Giant, despite being French, had been the most famous wrestler in the history of mankind until Hulk Hogan walked in the door flexing his mighty pythons. From 1950 till the early 80s, after shooting to fame in the 50s after footage of him throttling Charles de Gaulle during a promo made international headlines, he went on to tour the world, winning 100-person Battle Royal Rumbles and fighting Godzilla to a draw outside the Tokyo Dome in April 1973. But now it was the 1980s. He had slowed down and got jealous of the new hip designer drug everyone was snorting. Hulkamania. Andrew the Giant stood at an impressive 7'5", making him the biggest wrestler known. Rumors his great-grandmother may have been the Statue of Liberty have been considered likely true, even though the DNA test said different. Now we will never know if Andrew was angry or jealous, as he spoke in a deep voice hard to understand in a dead language known as French, that nobody alive speaks anymore. But from the look on his face and actions we believe he was upset with Hulk Hogan. During the 1988 BET award ceremony gifting the Hulkster the humanitarian award of being just a great dude, Andrew burst on the stage drunk and belligerent, rambling in his dead tongue. He ripped the crucifix of Hulk Hogan's neck, gifted to the Hulkster by the other immortal one, Jesus Christ. Hogan stood there in shock as his now former best friend pranced away like only a 7'7", 400-pound man can prance. Enraged by the disrespect of crucifix muggery and for not speaking in the only true language worth speaking, American, Hulk Hogan challenged Andrew the Giant to battle and asked all his friends to pay to watch. The challenge was accepted, and the day soon came, April 2, 1988. 93,000 Hulkamaniacs went to see their hero battle the 8', 500-pound Andrew the Giant. At an event named Wrestlemania the Third, hosted at the Super Silver Dome in downtown Detroit, the two would battle. Box office records broke. A confirmed 80% of the world tuned in to see the epic battle. Even those without a television listened via makeshift radios made of coconuts, as they were gravely concerned for their hero, as he had defeated many great wrestlers, but none as great as the 9', 600-pound Andrew the Giant. The super-duper Silverdome was packed with approximately 93,000 screaming wrestling fans, packed in like sardines. Andrew traveled to the ring via forklift. He had put on even more weight for the match. At 700 pounds, he knew Hulk Hogan wouldn't be able to lift or throw him around the ring like the Hulkster had done other lesser opponents in the past. He had also put on height, now standing at 9'5". Batting away trash made up of beer cans, old hot dogs and heroin needles, the hated Andrew made it to the ring. Aretha Franklin got on stage and belted out her own rock anthem version of A Real America, as Michael Jackson danced on stage. Jackson, being good friends with Hulk Hogan, having shared in many Make-A-Wish experiences together, did it for free. The bass dropped and Hulkamaniacs went bananas as Hulk Hogan marched to the ring, as he didn't need no stinking forklift. After an intense 90-minute stare down, the match started. Hulk Hogan attempted to lift Andrew but failed as the 1,000 pounds came crashing down on him, cracking a rib. But Hogan continued, adrenaline flowing as the crowd chanted his name. Andrew took it to Hogan, using his catcher mitt-sized hands to slap Hogan's chest, punch his bald head, and gave him the world's biggest wet willy, poking Hogan's brain in the process, bringing Hulkamaniacs to sob, as it looked likely the Valiant icon was soon to lose his world championship to the Giant. Hogan rolled to the outside of the ring, avoiding being pinned and hoping to slam Andre on the floor, winning by count-out. His plan failed as Andre backdropped Hulk on the concrete floor, splitting Hogan's spine in two. Andre re-entered the ring drinking a large barrel of wine while Hogan looked to be counted out. As the official was slowly counting up to 10, Hogan used the faith of Hulkamania to refuse his spine and roll back into the ring, breaking the count. The 1,000 pound plus a recently ingested barrel of wine. Andrew stood in awe. Hogan had made it back in the ring, and not just that, he was standing, not backing down. Andrew lumbered towards Hogan looking for the kill, but almost like magic, Hulk Hogan swiftly lifted the 2,000 pound giant over his head, then body slammed him onto the ring mat, tearing all the muscles in his back, the latissimus dorsi, rhomboids, trapezius, the levator scapulae, everything in his back ripped and tore. The slam was so immense it caused foundational damage to the building, as Hogan quickly leg dropped and pinned Andre for the victory, reclaiming his championship and position as alpha. The crowd went wild. They clapped, stomped their feet, ripped their t-shirts, and pulled their hair out in collective happiness as Hulk Hogan posed and flexed all his muscles to the delight of the crowd, even the muscles in his back despite them being destroyed. The celebration was quickly cut short as the Super Silverdome collapsed. 81,000 of the fans that night were never found, so there has been some discrepancy with attendance numbers when it comes to the WrestleMania 3 event. We believe after seeing Hulk Hogan's impossible victory, they attained a higher level of Hulkamania and ascended to a different higher plane of existence. Andrew the Giant was defeated. The damage was so bad from the body slam, leg drop, and a Silverdome falling on him, he succumbed to his wounds a few days later. On his deathbed, he apologized to Hogan for being a bit of a bell end. The Christ-like Hulk Hogan forgave Andrew. This left WWF with a problem. They had just lost their second biggest attraction. But thanks to the Jim Henson's workshop, a lot of sawdust, and the art of illusion, master puppeteer, a man called Ming managed to maneuver the corpse around the ring for some less than stellar fights against the Ultimate Warrior, keeping the matches short as possible. Unfortunately, some more eagle-eyed fans saw through the illusion and noticed Ming. WWF, instead of exposing the business, said the puppeteer was in fact Andrew's new tag team partner, a badass Tongan called Haku. For 2 years Haku puppeteered a corpse and wrestled, even managing to win a tag team title with it in 1990. Until the corpse, despite the best treatments, began to decompose and was ultimately retired, and Andre was officially pronounced dead in early 1993. The same month, Hulk Hogan's movie Suburban Commando took home the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. Hulk Hogan dedicated the award to his fallen friend turned foe.